and with all the stories going on, Francesca, there was one that that you needed to report because of its significance to you and really to a whole lot of us.
Yes, JD. Thespians and filmmakers in Britain will be mourning the loss of Sir Richard Attenborough, who died yesterday at the age of 90. With a career that spanned over 60 years, both in front and behind the camera, Attenborough's life boasts 2 Oscars for the epic movie Gandhi, as well as numerous achievements as a director in movies such as Oh, What a Lovely War, and actor in the infamous Jurassic Park. Prime Minister David Cameron spoke yesterday, calling him one of the greats of cinema. And as a personal idol of mine in the world of arts, he leaves behind a legacy as a performer, creator and humanitarian. The British film industry will always be proud of.
Just one question, Francesca. Is there a memorable moment captured on cinema? Is there an utterance by the late Richard Attenborough that sticks with you even now? Or was it just the sheer volume of his work?
I mean, he's an example to anyone, I think, in media and the arts, but I would have to say his role in A Miracle on 34th Street touched, I think, the hearts of a lot of young children out there, as well as adults, if you recall that movie yourself, JD. So a great loss, but a wonderful legacy left behind.
Now, it is interesting, of course, you're our resident Britican, half British, half American, and in my lone visit to Westminster Abbey, I was there after debating at the Oxford Union, and there we were in that great structure, and it is impossible to walk without stepping on where some famous Brits are laid to rest. And I looked down at one point in my walk around, and there I was standing on the remains of Sir Laurence Olivier, which was, it kind of gave me pause to go, wait, okay, there's Queen Elizabeth I right over there, and here I am standing on Laurence Olivier. So it's an interesting thing to have the chance to visit there, and again, a little bit different perhaps than Arlington National Cemetery in the United States.
Well, the one thing that I can say about my home country, so to speak, is that history is embedded in the structure of the place. So
history is just infused in those British Isles. A man who knows a good bit about history and current events, as a matter of fact, is our good friend Ed Berliner, who is standing by now in our newsroom. He will tell us what's in store on Midpoint here in less than half an hour. Hi, Ed.
JD, it is nice to hear that you're all talking history.
That's right.
We're all enjoying it, you and Francesca.
Good.
So what we have to do is we have to make a little history today. How's that?
Fair enough.
Let's go ahead and get to it here. The ISIS plan to blow up an American city. Is this truly feasible or just another scare tactic? Robert Spencer from Jihad Watch is going to weigh in on that. Matt Van Dyke was a colleague of James Foley. He knew him very well, knows what it's like to be held prisoner by terrorist factions. He's going to be here as well and give us some insight. The report on CIA torture is still awaiting the light of day, and already there's discussion how it may change national security, and certainly not for the better. California Assemblyman Tim Donnelly is holding a protest this day to seek the release of an American still being held in Mexico, also dealing with the aftermath of another land shake in California. We expect a fiery debate about sex offender registries and whether or not they are actually outdated. And in telling it like it is, 2 men who have failed to learn the lesson: with great power comes great responsibility. That and a whole lot more coming up on Midpoint, beginning at 12 Eastern Time.
Well, Ed, before we let you go, we should also point out for the record, you yourself are a student of cinema, because
yes,
we hear you holding forth about many a different motion picture. So do you remember any Richard Attenborough performances that that you especially treasured through the years?
Anything from The Great Escape. I mean, simply watching him in The Great Escape, the way he was so understated in it, simply the way that his character was so quiet and was so military, and in that moment where he was caught and they knew that they were going to be executed by the Germans at that point, the look on his face, it was a very emotional role. But remember that, and of course in Jurassic Park, he created a memorable character there as well.
he did. He had a long and fruitful career.
But let's not forget, as a director, Gandhi was an absolute tour de force and was one of the finest movies ever made. I mean, that's one of those movies you can watch over and over again, and he was the director of that. Brilliant film.
Absolutely. Apparently had more extras in that movie than any film to date.
I did not know that.
But it's
now
probably
I'm
easy
to go
if
back
you're
and
going
look at all my little things that I know, all those little notes that I have laying around.
You've
hit me with something on cinema. Very nice.
When you think about the sheer population of India,
wow,
it would recommend, it just goes to show you'd have millions of extras.
Yep.
Might be a little tough to pay them
Yep.
scale, but they got that done anyway. Ed, we appreciate it as always. We will see you on Midpoint.
Short
at
amount of
12 noon.
time. Thanks,
yes,
guys. We'll
indeed.
see you
Thanks
then.
very much. And Francesca, I can see everyone as you and Ed were talking about the late great Richard Attenborough. Now I can see people lining up to get the DVDs of some incredible movies.
Absolutely.
So we will continue here. When we come back, there's plenty more to talk about, but we're interested in what's on your mind. Why don't you send us your comments on the stories we've been covering today? Tweet us at NewsmaxTV, #AmericasForum.